Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, Time is But a Window. So after the most recent major, people were predicting a pretty major update from Valve, and well, they got it. Do you guys remember the changes they made to the money system back in October? Well, you guys haven't seen anything yet. So I guess we should just start off at the top and go through the list of changes that have completely changed how the game is going to feel. Alright, so adjusted round loss bonus with the goal of reducing a negative feedback loop following streaks of losses. The round loss bonuses are now based on the count of a team's round losses. The count increases by 1 after every loss and decreases by 1 after every win, with a minimum of 0. And honestly, to me this feels a little bit overcomplicated, but I guess we'll get used to it in time. So the way I understand it is if you win 5 rounds in a row and then you lose a round, you still get reset back to 1400. But what really changes is for the team that loses those rounds. After 4 rounds in a row, they'll be making 3400, so on that 5th round they'll still make 3400, and if they win that round, they'll have 3500, but if they lose the next round after that, they'll still make 2900. And yeah, as you can hear, I hesitated for a moment to make sure I had that right, because it's going to be a lot more complicated to know when the other team's saving and when they're buying for a while. Alright, let's move on to the next part of this update. This is a pretty interesting dynamic. They added a flashbang assist for players who successfully flash the enemy, which gets killed by another player. Though this gets overruled if someone already did 40 damage to that player. Moving down, we find the AUG, which has been priced back up at 3300. I love how they announce it too. Now that players have had an opportunity to learn and to love the AUG, returning the weapon to its original price of 3300. It's almost like some kind of out-of-season April Fool's joke or something. Do you want to know what's even more interesting than them making the price of the AUG back up to 3300? They left the price of the SG553 at 2750. I guess that's so that we can learn to love the SG553. Except, I would advise against doing that because they'll probably just increase the price. Okay, moving on. Next up we have the M4A1 Silenced. They increased the bullet capacity up to 25 per clip and increased the overall ammo in the reserve to 75 instead of 60. In theory, this should make the gun a more valid option, especially now that they've taken away our AUG, but to be completely honest, its rate of fire is still nowhere near the M4A4. And for those that don't know, the M4A1S's rate of fire is 600 per minute, whereas the M4A4 is 666 per minute. And in my opinion, the rate of fire decrease should be enough of a nerf that they shouldn't have to decrease the ammo capacity at all from 30. But in my opinion, I don't think this change is big enough that people will start using the M4A1S all the time. I actually think that people are going to stick with that M4A4 because higher rate of fire means your enemies are going to go down quicker. Back to the update, we have a price reduction for some shotguns like the Nova, Sawed-Off, and Mag 7. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to say the Mag 7 did not need a price reduction. The Mag 7 is overpowered as hell at close range. So as you can see, they also increased the Nova penetration to 1, and the sawed-off range was increased to 1400. And in my opinion, since those guns were practically worthless, this is a good change. Now I feel like I can just give up on aiming and run around with a shotgun. They also fixed what I would consider a couple bugs here. Single shell shotguns in the middle of their reload sequence will no longer automatically continue the reload after the player holsters and deploys them. And then here's the less important parts of the update. We have them adding a new case, which might have some nice skins, but I'm not going to go through them all and review them. They also added a new loadout shuffle feature that is available in the inventory, which I have no idea why anyone would ever want to use that. And finally, we have a couple changes to a couple of the maps, one of which being Canals, which I'm not sure if anyone plays out there, and then Vertigo, which you can only play in Wingman. Okay, so while I'm not completely sold on this update, I haven't yet played it, so let's play it and see if it goes how I think it will, or if it's actually a better update than I thought. After waiting around for 20 minutes on my main account, I decided I didn't have enough time if I wanted to get this video out by 3, so I switched over to my Smurf account. Hate me all you want, but I'm on a deadline. God, it looks like it's just one of those days. The video's all zoomed in for no apparent reason.
You guys want a waterfall?
Yeah, fuck it.
Last one's AFK.
Oh shit, are you Time is But a Window?
No.
No, I recognize that voice.
It's totally not me.
Sexy-ass
I mean,
voice.
I'm not him.
That sexy ass voice.
One mid.
One lane.
He's wow, under balk.
Is polar and polar something.
They're pushing up mid.
That's not
Two
good.
of them.
You see him, you see him. One arch, dead.
One was nice.
One lane, dead.
Nice.
Playtime, playtime. How's last.
Got him.
Dude, that's proud
Good job,
guys.
guys.
Good job, man.
Alright guys, so pistol round didn't change, but it's not supposed to. But I know this is driving you guys crazy, so I'm going to try to get the footage a different way. Be right back. Alright, so hopefully this works a little bit better for you guys. So what does and doesn't this update actually do? Well, it doesn't really change the early game too much. At least, not if you're on the terrorist side. While the shotguns have been improved, it's not to the point where you're going to be able to easily take sights with them. I mean, that is, unless you're a shotgun god. Now, on the CT side, it's a different story. The Mag 7 was already a great shotgun, especially for holding up close angles. And the price for the kill reward was good enough that even on the CT side prior to this price change, I would buy a Mag 7 on second round, and if I got one kill, it paid for itself. You know, when you figure in the round loss bonus as well. But now that it's dropped by another $500, it seems like all save rounds on CT side should just be shotgun rounds because it gives you a better chance to win. In fact, on the CT side of this map, whenever we lost, we would just buy a shotgun and we'd actually end up countering them and winning the round. Also, for those that think that the shotguns might be a viable option on the second round T side, submachine guns are still better for entry. And overall, during close games, or until about 5 rounds into a game, the game doesn't change too much. In a close game where you're trading rounds back and forth every other round, you're still going to have money problems and have to have eco rounds. Or at least shotgun rounds. The real way this really affects the game is if one team takes an early lead. Then if the other team tries to come back, they have a bit of an advantage. And under the right circumstances, this can get really weird. Okay, shit's about to get complicated and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to diagram this out, so just try to stay with me. So let's say Team 1 is on terrorist side, and they're making about 3,500 every time they win a round. Meanwhile, Team 2 has already lost 4 rounds in a row, and they're making 3,400. Now, Team 2 wins the round by defusing the bomb. That gives them 3,600, and Team 1 only gets 1,400 for the loss. But let's say Team 1 wins the next round. So that means Team 1 is getting 3,500, and Team 2 is getting 2,900. Now, Team 2 once again wins the next round, and Team 1 still makes 1,400. Look at how much extra money Team 2 is receiving here. This kind of situation would really make it hard for Team 1 to maintain their lead if all of a sudden they lost control. And I imagine that's kind of the point. Valve wants to make it so the other team has an unfair advantage to get back into the game, which I personally don't like at all. But I do see it being effective in the way that Valve wants it to be effective, and that's so that there are closer games and less big blowouts. But like I mentioned, it also matters which side you're on. If this is reversed and the CTs are the ones who are winning and then have the eco rounds all of a sudden, they still got those shotguns to fall back to, so I think that maps are going to become pretty CT-sided. Or at least maps like Inferno, Cache, and Mirage, maybe Train. Also, I know that the Nova just came on screen, and I wanted to say that the update to the Nova pretty much just makes it so if someone's within a relatively close range and you shoot at their face, they will die. And while the armor penetration with the Nova was increased, I did not see anyone die from one shot to the chest like they do with the Mag 7 in this game. So while it might still be possible, you're gonna have to get damn close. And finally, let's talk about the M4A1S. Was the extra 5 bullets enough to make people happy? Now, from the people that I talked to in the game, the answer is actually yes, which surprised me because for me, I'm still gonna stick with the M4A4. And I was surprised to find that a couple people did still buy the AUG even though the price went up. Though it was rare and nowhere near as frequent as before. So as for my final thoughts. Overall, it doesn't feel too different than it did before, but the problem is, if you lose momentum, it starts to feel like the odds are stacked against you, and what could have been a blowout game ends up being this really close nail-biter due to the economy, even though you're thinking in the back of your mind that you were clearly the better team. As for the M4A1S, I don't know if it'll cause anyone to actually switch over, but if you were an M4A1S fan before, then you're gonna love it now. And even though the terrorist shotguns were used a lot here because people were testing them out, I can't imagine them being used that much in future games. And when it comes to the CT side, I can't imagine anyone deciding to use the Nova over the Mag 7 at only $1,300. But opposite to that, I think that the Nova's the better value from the sawed-off on the terrorist side. And finally, given how little the AUG was actually used in this game and how much people were just testing stuff out, I don't think the AUG is going to be making it back for the next major. Like, it's going to end up being one of those things where it's a very rare occasion when someone actually buys one. Which is a shame, because it's a really good gun, and because of its increased accuracy, those top aimers out there can really do some amazing stuff with it. I'm not happy with the update, but I know I'll find a way to adjust. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and as always, have a great day.